Hi there, friends and neighbors. Well, as I thought, House Bill 2005 was repassed by the Oregon House today. I'm not sure when it's going to go to the governor's desk, but I expect it will be soon. You might know that Oregon was the last free state on the West Coast when it came to gun laws, but after Measure 114 and now House Bill 2005, it doesn't look like our state is as free as it used to be. Also, it looks like Oregon anti-gun groups will be pushing for more restrictive gun right laws like those in California and Washington. There was even some talk in the House today about assault weapons bans here in Oregon while they were talking about House Bill 2005. As for the bill, when it came back from the Senate, it looks like I missed a couple of updates. The first part of the bill is the only part that will be enacted, which makes it illegal to sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess any gun without a serial number. This means that people in Oregon can no longer make their own guns without registering them, which is kind of a shame. The last two parts of the bill were killed off by the Senate, which I'm happy about. So there will not be any restrictions on weapons for people under the age of 21. And there will not be any added limitations on where concealed carry permit holders can carry. While I'm happy that these two pieces are removed, we're still seeing a new infringement on our rights, and I'm sure that's going to cost Oregonians thousands, if not millions of dollars in taxpayer money, to settle that in court. So without further ado, here is the video of the discussion and the final vote in the House. Please keep an eye out for more information on Second Amendment matters here in Oregon, and please share this information with friends and family.
2005, excuse me.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House concur in the Senate amendments to House Bill 2005C and repass the bill.
Representative Krupp moves that the House concur in the Senate amendments to House Bill 2005C and repass the bill. To your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's three amendments to this bill, to House Bill 2005C. First amendment is a slight modification of the definition sections about what part of a firearm needs to have a serial number. Those definitions align with the federal definitions. The 2005C also removes the section about local jurisdictions having the ability to make decisions about firearms in local public buildings, and it removes the section about increasing the age of possession of certain types of firearms to age 21. Admittedly, I preferred the base bill, but this piece of legislation is important and will help us prevent having undetectable, so firearms that could pass through a metal detector, and untraceable, so firearms that lack a serial number, will help prevent those types of firearms from being in our community. I urge your support.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion. Representative Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the motion.
To the motion.
Colleagues, I rise in opposition to the concurrence for House Bill 2005C. I'm going to repeat some of the things that I said about a month ago on the floor. This concurrence will restrict the sale and manufacture of unregistered firearms. The promotion of these provisions call these products ghost guns, but in reality, there's nothing spooky about them. What the provision really amounts to is the punishment of lawful gun owners in the name of punishing the bad. But this is also constitutionally suspect. These regulations criminalize possession and will cite that untraceable firearms are sometimes used by criminals. But this ignores that firearms unquestionably protect the Second Amendment and are also sometimes used by criminals. What is most important is whether the now prohibited untraceable firearms are not typically possessed by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes. The state will never be able to establish this in court, just as the state couldn't do in Delaware. Additionally, the Bruin decision in 2002, SCOTUS made clear that in order for a firearm regulation to pass muster under the Second Amendment, the government must identify a well-established and representative historical analog. This country arguably won its independence with home-built firearms, and there is no history, tradition, or text analogous to a ban on home-built firearms. And colleagues, do you really think criminals care whether a firearm has a serial number? Do you really think criminals care what type of firearm they use? I say no. I honestly don't believe this is going to change anything, Mr. Speaker, except those that have the right to build their own firearm. Show a trade. Yeah, they can go get it serialized, but we have a lot of them out there that don't have serial numbers. Colleagues, this isn't going to change gun violence. Once again, when are we going to realize that passing more laws aren't going to make criminals legal? Mr. Speaker, I urge a no vote.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? Representative Evans, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the bill?
To the bill.
To the motion. To the motion. I am always perplexed on gun bills because I do believe in the Second Amendment, but I actually believe courts and laws protect the Second Amendment, not guns. I am struggling with this bill because I actually do believe that unserialized weapons that are unserialized because somebody has made them and then chosen not to unserialize them actually creates a problem. Because I've been in places where revolutions took place, and having too many firearms available is sometimes a challenge if people are using them for things without any moral or logical purpose. However, the reason I rise today is that I suspect this bill will pass. I suspect it will do marginal good. But I want to bring attention to the two things that were cut out of it and put a marker down. I only speak for myself, but I'm convinced that in the next 5 years there will be people in this building, myself included, that will look back upon today and wonder what might have been. Instead of raising the age to 21 and still having people have the opportunity to purchase any firearm they want, I suspect that before too long, given what happened with ballot measure 114, that there'll be some type of assault weapon ban. I also believe that unlike 2005, that provided local control and community perspective, there'll likely be a statewide perspective, statewide mandate on what public spaces can and can't do regarding firearms. I'm sad today because even when compromise and a middle ground is offered, some people just aren't interested. So I hope that none of us, and again I'm speaking for myself especially, live long enough for another shooting to take place where an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old that otherwise could have been prevented from murdering people does that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? Seeing none, Representative Krupp, do you wish to close?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to clarify a few things. The remaining sections of the bill make it unlawful to possess a firearm that's undetectable, so a firearm that could pass through an x-ray machine like at a courthouse or at an airport, and undetectable, untraceable firearms. This bill does not prohibit somebody who is lawfully allowed to possess a firearm from making a firearm at their home. It just says you have to get a serial number for that, just like every other gun, every other legal gun in the state. So it doesn't prevent somebody from having a hobby of building a firearms. It just says you have to get a serial number on it. And if you have those types of firearms, we're giving you a little over a year window to get a serial number on those guns now to make sure that they are in compliance with this law. I'd urge your support of this measure.
Thank you, Representative. Those of you who opinion that the House should concur in the Senate amendments and repass House Bill 2005C will vote aye. Those opposed, no. The clerk will open the voting system. House Bill 2005C, having received the constitutional majority, is declared repassed.